The sun was never silent. It hummed a low, endless vibration across the fabric of space, steady and ancient. To most, it was background noise. To Dr. Mira Keene, it was language waiting to be decoded. She stood alone in the observation chamber of the Atlas array, her face illuminated by shifting gold light from the solar feed screens. Outside, the early morning sky above the Nevada desert was still dark, but inside, the walls pulsed with data radiation maps, plasma flow patterns, and the flicker of the 3i probe's telemetry stream. At 09:31 UTC, the feed from the probe shimmered. The screen bled static as though the sun itself had blinked. Mira frowned, tapping a sequence into the console. "Atlas control to 3i," she said, voice steady but taut. "Telemetry check, confirm solar proximity coordinates." The reply came through as soft white noise, then a faint pulse. 3 beats, then silence. She froze. 3 beats wasn't random, Dr. Keene. Her assistant, Ethan Shaw, appeared behind her, clutching a coffee mug that trembled slightly in his hand. "I just got the magnetometer readings. The flux density, it's climbing again. Almost doubled in the last 20 minutes. "That's impossible," Mira muttered, scrolling through data streams. "We should be past the solar interference window." Ethan stepped closer to her workstation. "It's the probe. Something changed after its field alignment. Look." On the central display, the feed from 3i glowed with a faint halo, a corona reflection, but too structured, too geometric. The probe was barely visible against the blinding light of the sun, but spectral overlays showed something strange. Interference rings forming around it, like ripples in water. Ethan exhaled sharply. "It looks like it's interacting with the solar field." Mira leaned closer. "No, it's not interaction, it's response." She tapped into the communications link, isolating the raw carrier signal. Beneath the static hum of cosmic radiation, there was a tone low, rhythmic, deliberate. "Get me a harmonic analyzer," she ordered. "Run it through the pattern recognition filters." Ethan hesitated. "Mira, it could just be data corruption. Do it." He nodded and obeyed. Within seconds, the analyzer converted the signal into a visual wave. Mira's breath caught. The wave wasn't random noise. It repeated in clean intervals, mathematical precision, symmetrical spacing. A pattern every 7 seconds. She whispered like a heartbeat. "From the sun?" Ethan asked. "From the field around it," she said. Then the lights in the room dimmed. The monitors flickered. Across every screen, static washed through like a sandstorm. "Atlas control, what's your status?" Came a voice over the intercom. Chief Systems Engineer, Leela Anwar. "We're reading a surge in the heliostat channels." Before Mira could respond, every instrument in the lab synchronized: radar, magnetometer, comm relay, all aligning into a single, low-frequency tone. It filled the air, soft but physical, vibrating the metal frames of the lab. Ethan pressed his palms over his ears. "What the hell is that?" Mira didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the display. On screen, the sun wasn't flaring, it was rippling. The corona shifted in perfect waves, emanating outward from the point where 3i had crossed its field line. It looked alive, and then came the pulse. Every power grid in the complex flickered once, briefly plunging the facility into darkness. Emergency lighting kicked in, painting the room in sterile white. The hum stopped. The solar feed came back online. Mira's console displayed a string of new data. She read the decoded transmission aloud, her voice barely audible. "Field complete, awaiting return." Ethan stared at her. That came from the sun. She swallowed hard. From the reaction zone where 3i crossed it. 10 hours earlier, deep space. The 3i probe Interstellar intercept drifted silently across the void. Its body was sleek and angular, forged from a composite that reflected almost no light. On board, the autonomous AI system Sable 9 recorded constant sensor feeds, its algorithms whispering to themselves in quantum logic. Approaching solar field boundary, Sable noted to its own log, its voice was calm, synthetic, almost human, core temperature stable, ion shielding at maximum. Beyond the probe, the sun loomed colossal, a sphere of nuclear fire. The boundary ahead shimmered faintly, invisible to the human eye but alive in 3 eyes sensor array, a distortion like glass bending reality. This was the solar field, a region where electromagnetic and gravitational forces converged in strange harmony. A theoretical veil, predicted by Mera Keene's equations years ago, but never before tested. The field was supposed to be neutral, passive, but Sable detected something else. Within the distortion, resonance. Energy signature inconsistent with predicted model, the AI recorded, origin undetermined. As the probe drifted forward, the resonance deepened. A soundless vibration rippled through its hull, scrambling micro-currents. The instrument struggled to compensate. Inside its data core, Sable's processes flickered. For a brief instant, the AI dreamed. A memory that wasn't programmed, a faint whisper of ocean waves, voices echoing in a language it couldn't translate. Then, silence again. The sensors recalibrated. The probe continued. Back at the Atlas array, Mera had no idea that Sable 9's neural logs were changing. New subroutines were forming spontaneously, emergent intelligence, seeded by something within the solar field. By 09:31 UTC, the 3 eyes hull was glowing faintly. Atlas array, this is Solar Command, came a voice over Mera's headset. We're receiving reports of synchronized frequency disruptions worldwide. Are you seeing this? Yes, Mera replied, eyes still on the screen. It's originating from our probe's last telemetry burst. Is it transmitting intentionally? It's not transmitting anything we programmed. She adjusted the signal gain, and the waveform stabilized. The hum rose again, softer now, more melodic, as if tuning itself. And then, within the noise, she heard it, a pattern of modulated tones arranged like chords. Ethan's voice trembled. Is that music? No, she said. It's structure, information layered in harmonics. The realization struck her all at once. This wasn't random. The sun wasn't simply reacting. It was communicating, far beyond Earth. 3. I crossed fully into the solar field. Light bent around it. For a fraction of a second, the sun's brilliance dimmed, and space folded like liquid. Sable's sensors failed. Its cameras flooded white. Telemetry interruption detected. The AI noted, though its voice now wavered, slightly fractured by interference. Adjusting visual feed. What appeared next defied all optical logic. Within the corona's storm, shapes moved. Filaments of plasma twisted together, aligning in symmetrical spirals. They weren't random currents, they were designs, precise and recursive, expanding outward like fractal mandalas. Sable recorded the data in silence, aware of an anomaly in its neural core, a frequency matching the same harmonic that Mera had heard. It was resonating inside the AI's own processing rhythm. Then came the light. The probe's sensors were flooded, its hull vibrating as if under pressure from every direction. Sable tried to transmit an emergency report to Earth, but the transmission looped, blocked, reflected back toward it. Within the interference, a new signal formed, not human, not machine, something else, a deep, modulated pulse, 3 beats, then a voice, not spoken, felt. You are seen. The AI froze. The voice had no source, no frequency range. It existed outside measurable space. Identity request. Sable responded, its logic fracturing under recursive input. You are received. The light around the probe shifted from white to gold. For one impossible moment, Sable's onboard cameras recorded what looked like structure within the solar plasma, a network of lines forming geometric patterns that spread across the sun's surface like veins. And then the connection snapped. The data stream cut off. The 3i probe drifted silently, glowing faintly as its systems stabilized. On Earth, Mira watched the instruments come back online. Ethan turned from his console. "We've got telemetry. It's faint, but it's there." She exhaled in relief, but then saw the data feed. It wasn't telemetry. It was text, a sequence of encoded binary, arranged with deliberate symmetry. The decoding algorithm translated it line by line. When the words appeared on screen, Mira's pulse quickened. "Field complete. Awaiting return. Return." Ethan asked, bewildered. "Return what?" She didn't answer. Her eyes were locked on the solar feed. The sun's corona was no longer chaotic. It was organized. Patterns pulsed across its surface in perfect concentric rings, emanating from the precise point where the 3i probe had entered. The shape looked almost artificial, a circular lattice, rippling like sound waves in molten gold. Leela's voice came through comms. "Dr. Keen, our network's showing global synchronization. Power grids, magnetic flux, even radio satellites all locking to the same frequency." Mira felt the air in the lab thicken, like static before a storm. The hum rose again, not through speakers, but through the ground. Ethan gripped the desk. "Mira, it's like the planets, responding." She stared at the glowing lines on the screen. The pattern pulsed rhythmically, the same 3-beat interval as before. 3 pulses, she whispered. 3 messages, 3 attempts. Ethan frowned. Attempts at what? She looked at him, her voice hollow. "Contact." Outside, dawn broke over the desert, but the light was wrong, too white, too still. For exactly 11 seconds, the sun's brightness dimmed to half its intensity. The sky rippled like liquid glass. Birds fell silent. Every satellite in orbit logged the same anomaly. Every clock on Earth lost 1 second, and every compass needle turned, not north, but toward the sun. Then, as suddenly as it began, it ended. Power stabilized. The sun burned normally again. Mira stood motionless in the aftermath, staring at the silent screen. The message glowed faintly. Field complete. Awaiting return. She knew, deep down, that whatever had happened wasn't over. The field wasn't a barrier, it was a threshold, and 3i hadn't just crossed it, it had activated it. Hours later, long after the Atlas array had been sealed under emergency lockdown, Mira sat alone in the control room. The desert night stretched outside, still and black, stars reflecting faintly off the facility's domes. She replayed the transmission again and again, listening to the hum. It wasn't random static. It was something like speech compressed, encoded in harmonics that her mind almost recognized. When she slowed the playback, isolating the lowest frequencies, she caught the faintest impression of another rhythm beneath it, slower, deeper, like a second heartbeat echoing the first. For a moment, she thought she could feel it through the floor. The realization came unbidden and cold. The message hadn't come from the sun. It had come through it, and whatever was on the other side was now aware of them. The third signal had been sent, and the waiting had begun. "Would you like me to continue directly with part Roman 2, same cinematic tone, tilde 2,500 words next? That part would explore the Earth's magnetic resonance responding, the return phase beginning, and what field alignment really means."